So you're looking to immigrate to Canada, and you've probably heard all about express entry. But what happens when that route just isn't panning out? Well, in this explainer, we are diving deep into another really powerful pathway to making Canada your home, the non-express entry Provincial Nominee Program. Let me guess, you've been waiting, you've got a great profile, but that all-important invitation to apply through express entry, it just hasn't shown up. It's a super common and frankly a really frustrating spot to be in. But seriously, don't lose hope, because there really is another way. So today, we're going to map out the entire journey through the Provincial Nominee Program, or PNP, but specifically for people applying outside of that main express entry system. All right, here's our mission briefing for today. First, we'll get our heads around this alternative path. Then we'll break it all down into two core missions. First, winning over a province, and second, the federal application. We'll also talk about the waiting game, what the final steps look like, and then we'll wrap it all up with a simple 6-step recap. Ready? Let's get into it. Okay, first things first, let's get a really clear picture of this other path to Canada and figure out what this non-express entry PNP is all about. So the huge difference here is that you apply directly to a province or territory. See, this whole route exists so that provinces can find people to fill their own very specific local job shortages. It's really designed for folks who might not have a competitive express entry profile, but they have the exact skills that some region in Canada is desperate for. The best way to think about this whole process is like a two-part mission. Your first objective, your first goal, is to get the approval of a province, to get what they call a provincial nomination. Once you have that in your hands, you've unlocked part 2 of the mission, applying to the federal government for your permanent residence. So let's dive right into mission number 1, securing your provincial nomination. This is where your journey really kicks off. The very first thing you need to realize is just how many options there are. I mean, look at this list. Almost every single province and territory has these kinds of programs. So your first task is to do your homework, to research these options, and find the province where your skills are really in demand. Okay, once you've picked your target province, you've got to start putting together your application toolkit. This is all about gathering the documents that prove you're exactly who they're looking for. Now, you'll usually need the standard stuff, right? Proof of your work experience, language test results, an assessment of your education. But, and this is so important, every province has its own unique checklist. So please always go to their official website to find out exactly what you need. When you complete this stage successfully, you get a provincial nomination certificate. You should think of this document as your golden ticket. It's the province officially telling the federal government, hey, we want this person. They're a perfect fit for us. With that nomination certificate, that golden ticket in hand, you are ready for mission number 2, the federal application. This is where you formally apply to Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada, or IRCC, for permanent residence. Now, this is a really critical difference. Unlike the super fast, all-online system you see with express entry, this path is, well, it's old school. It's a traditional, paper-based application. You'll be filling out forms, printing everything, and sending a big physical package in the mail. And what that means is you have to be ready for a much longer processing time. This federal stage has its own clear set of steps. You'll need to complete all the federal forms, pay all the required fees, and then mail the whole package. As part of this, you and any family members coming with you will also have to get medical exams and provide police clearance certificates. Okay, so your application is in the mail. You've officially entered the next phase, the waiting game. It's really helpful to understand what's actually happening behind the scenes during this time. And let's be real about the timeline here. The typical processing time for one of these paper-based PNP applications is somewhere between 12 and 24 months. Yep, that's a year or 2. It's a pretty significant wait, so just setting your expectations right from the start is absolutely key. So what's IRCC doing all that time? Well, first, they're reviewing your entire file to make sure it's complete and that you're eligible. Then, they conduct really detailed background, security, and medical checks. And finally, once all of those verifications are done, they make the final decision on your application. And that brings us to the most exciting part of this entire journey, actually becoming a permanent resident. This is the final stage after your application gets that big thumbs up. A successful application means you'll receive 2 incredibly important documents. One is your confirmation of permanent residence, or COPR, and the other is a permanent resident visa that gets put inside your passport. This is it. This is the official green light. But you're not quite done yet. There is one last absolutely critical step. You have to physically arrive or land in Canada before your documents expire. That action, arriving in Canada, is what officially makes you a permanent resident. Whew, we have covered a ton of ground. So let's just pull it all together and do a quick mission recap so you can see the entire journey in one simple snapshot.
So here it is, your whole 6-step mission laid out. You kick things off by choosing a province and applying right to them. Then, once you get that crucial nomination, you submit your big paper-based application to the federal government. Next up is the waiting game. Remember, 12 to 24 months. And the final, absolutely life-changing step, you land in Canada and officially become a permanent resident.
Look, while the non-express entry PNP is definitely a longer journey than some other routes, for so many people, it is the most realistic path to a new life in Canada. It takes patience, for sure, and a lot of careful preparation, but it opens doors that might have been closed otherwise. So the real question is, now that you have the map, are you ready for the journey?